majority of what the Christian church teaches according to the Spirit, because keep in mind, they teach according to the Spirit and not according to the flesh, right? They don't believe, they believe in the Lutheran idea of faith justified by grace, right? Justification by grace, right? They don't believe in what James says or what Peter says when it says faith without works is dead. They don't believe in the works part, right? So if you're operating according to the Spirit and just by faith, then you have no fruit. You have no first fruits. And the Christian ministry doesn't exist. Right. Because the Spirit was bought by the fruit, by the first fruit of Christ. Right? You got something? All right. Now, so Paul kept this feast when he went to Jerusalem, and all men that were commanded to do after the death of Christ. So all men were doing this. Peter and the apostles were doing this on the day of Pentecost, right? But due to our current condition, we know that we were to return to Israel every year for the feast. Due to our current condition and the judgment that is to come against the heathen that are residing in Israel today, it is not possible for us to return for a yearly feast, nor is it safe, right? Because we know that Israel will be judged, the land will be purged. Right. We aren't to go back into Israel ourselves. So Christ would lead us back into Israel. Exactly. So anybody, just a side note, anybody who's in Israel right now, you better get out, or else you will partake in their judgment. Because judgment is coming on the heathen in Israel. You really think they won't be judged for taking down the Most High's people and making evil sacrifices, practicing sodomy on the land? Oh yeah, it's going to be purged. It has to be purged before we go back in. Exactly. Purged of all wickedness, right? But during Christ's millennial reign, right? Once Christ comes back and he sets things back in order, he established 144,000 leaders. During his millennial reign, we will be required to return to Israel for the yearly feast once again. Let's get Zechariah chapter 14, verse 16.
Zechariah chapter 14, verse 16. And it shall come to pass that everyone that is left of all the nations which came against Jerusalem shall even go up from year to year to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, and to keep the Feast of Tabernacles.
Check that out. So it says that after the Most High, after Christ comes and he brings destruction on this earth and sets it in order, we will be required to return to Jerusalem for the Feast of Tabernacles. This isn't just the Feast of Tabernacles, it's also the Feast of Ingathering. The feast that we have to return to Jerusalem on, right, according to the law. So this isn't just Feast of Tabernacles, it's also speaking of the Feast of Ingathering and Passover as well. Right?
Read verse 17. And it shall be that whoso will not come up of the families of the earth unto Jerusalem to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, even upon them shall be no rain.
There shall be no rain. Right? So if you don't come to give thanks to the Most High for your first fruits, or to honor the King and the Most High, then you won't receive rain.
Exactly.
You don't get a harvest. Now, the church is wondering why it is that they're doing all this. Well, I'm paying my tithes, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, but you're seeing no growth. You're seeing no movement. Why? Because you haven't honored the Most High for what he's already given you.
If I don't get mine, you're not going to get yours. Basically.
Right?
Exactly.
I mean, the fact of the matter is that he says you aren't to partake until you bring the first fruits to me.
Exactly.
Right? So if you've eliminated the Feast of First Fruits yearly, and you haven't kept the Feast of First Fruits, or Feast of Weeks, or Pentecost, then you haven't given the Most High the honor that he asked you for, and the honor that Christ demands.
One thing too, coming out of the Christian church, this first fruits, now they acknowledge it in the church because it's one of their biggest paydays. First fruit offering, that's a big payday for them.
Today we're going to do what God has asked us to do on this First Fruit Sunday. We're going to bring our offering to the front, to the altar, to present it to the Lord in faith, expecting what God is going to do for you in the coming harvest. And I want to tell you, I'm praying that God gives you A barn
Been there,
bursting.
done that. I've seen it all. First fruit offerings, big payday in the churches.
I mean, that's what it's about, right?
Exactly.
Get your money, man.